Hey everybody, and welcome to the Jersey Comic Crew. We bring you the news and reviews on your favorite comics, movies, and TV show. And you guessed it, guys, this is week 2 of quarantine. The Jersey Comic Crew still want to give you the best that we can give you. So we're doing a Skype call. So as always, I'm Rob Moran, and with me is...
Kris.
Yes. So guys, we're going to do a little catch up on how we're surviving with this quarantine. You know, it's week 2. As you can see, my apocalypse beard has grown quite significantly.
Yours has. It looks good, dude.
Right? It kind of looks good.
You are rocking the bearded apocalypse.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got to get my beard game up, but it's slowly growing.
Like today, I was gonna make the decision to cut it. Right? I was gonna trim it up, make it nice, and then and now I can't hear you. And now this is the part where I am afraid.
I'm very afraid too.
No, I hear you. Haha, it's a trick.
Okay.
Technical difficulties. Bear with us.
Yeah, bear with us, guys. We're trying our best. It's Skype. It's the apocalypse. We're doing the best we can.
As I was saying, I was gonna trim it down and cut it, but I was like, you know what? Let's just go wild. Let me grow it all out until the end in 3 years from now.
I agree. I think you should go like feral. You should end up looking like Yen Sid.
Oh.
Like a wizard, like a very a regal wizard.
But darker beard because it won't be gray. Oh my!
Yeah, not gray.
How long we're gonna be?
It depends. I mean, like if this thing lasts, it's only going to get worse before it gets better. And this is the Jersey Comic Crew. We are in Jersey, which is the top 3 worst state to be in for COVID-19 right now.
Oh, I thought you just meant in general because that was also true.
I mean, yeah, but at least the next couple of months are going to be rough. It's going to get worse before it gets better, unfortunately. But
we're going to be here to make sure we give you all the nerdy news that we can get up, movie reviews, comic reviews. We might get into a point where we review backlog stuff. So old comic book arcs, old movies, and stuff like that. So that way we at least give you that content. You guys have been hitting us up on our social medias, and to me and Kris directly, you guys love when we do the trailer times. You love when we do the comic story reviews and movies. So we're going to make sure that it's still a crucial part of the show, even if comics have stopped, even if movies have stopped, even if sports have been canceled. Yeah. We're going to be here for you. Now, the first thing I want to jump right into, Kris.
Yeah, let's go.
So, Mandalorian news. So last week we talked about Ahsoka being cast for Mandalorian Season 2. We have a new actor being cast. Michael Biehn is cast as Mandalorian Season 2. Now the speculation comes from us in the Star Wars nerdy world, right?
Yes, sir.
Who is he going to be, right? And now, Kris, I think you're leaning more towards the bounty hunter role. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. The second I heard this news, I first reacted very happily because I'm a huge movie cinephile, as you know. And if anyone's a fan of Terminator, if anyone's a fan of Aliens, you know who Michael Biehn is, right? Kyle Reese from the original Terminator. He comes in and saves Sarah Connor.
I had to Google him.
Of course,
he was in these movies.
I had to use the what's-he googly. But yeah, no, Michael Biehn is a total badass. He's been a badass since he entered Hollywood, and I doubt he wants to exit not a badass. Yeah. And I think it's a character we've already seen already in a different form.
Who do you think it is? I have my idea who I think it is. So who do you think?
I think he's going to be a character named Valance.
Valance?
Yes, okay. He's a bounty hunter from the comic books. Okay. He was originally in the original 70s Star Wars comic that went for about 5, 6, 7 years that took place after episode 4.
Okay.
It was no longer canon. They brought him back to, I don't know if you remember, maybe it was probably 6 months ago or more now.
Mm-hmm.
The original Star Wars comic ended with 107 issues, I believe.
Yeah, I remember that.
He did a solo shot 108th number finale for that series to kind of tie everything together, and they reintroduced a character named Valance who is now in canon, and basically he almost had a very Han Solo-ish story. He worked for the Empire, younger. He believed in kind of the Empire to save his home. He gets brutally injured in battle, in just war, right? Think of anything, World War II, Vietnam. Half of his face is blown off, arm blown off. So he has basically half of his face is like a Terminator skeleton.
That'd be cool to see in this show.
Yeah, so think of almost like Cyborg from DC Comics, but way more dark, sinister, badass, and with the mind of this wronged bounty hunter. He actually goes after Darth Vader. He goes, he's fought the Empire. He is kind of like the bounty hunter with nothing to lose. He kind of has a death wish.
So you think he's going to be on the good side, if you will, in this series?
I don't necessarily think he's going to be on the good side. I think he's going to be on the more like classic bounty hunter role we see not just in Star Wars, but we see in other mediums, right? Like, I have my own agenda, and I'm doing this for my money. Like, we saw in obviously season 1 that's kind of how our Mandalorian started, right? And then you introduced Baby Yoda, and it became more of that like father figure role.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be way more the classic bounty hunter role, where he is like, this is my job. I have something to do. If you're in my way, you're getting killed just like anyone else. I don't care who you are. If that's who he is. But if you look up the pictures of Valance and you take a look at Michael Biehn, it kind of makes perfect sense, because the second I was like, oh, Michael Biehn in Mandalorian, he looks just like Valance. That would be perfect. He could always be someone else. There's been rumors about Cad Bane.
That's exactly who I was thinking, because I was like, I remember from the Clone Wars, like I saw episodes here and there, and I remember this. I don't know why I thought he had a sombrero, but he just has a big cowboy hat. This bounty hunter.
It's like a mix of a sombrero cowboy hat.
So I was like, oh, maybe that'd be cool. But I was like, I have no idea what happened to that character. Is he even alive anymore in the Star Wars universe?
Yeah, he is. They never really killed him off. He kind of. Like, he's supposed to be, like, the secret bounty hunter who's almost, like, the best one. And he's the best one because no one really knows about him, and he's so hard to get contracts, and he's so hard to hire. And he's kind of like if Star Wars had a Clint Eastwood, like, draw, shoot kind of bounty hunter. So Cad Bane would be also as awesome. The voice cast for Cad Bane is incredible. Like, his voice is so badass and cool. I don't know if Michael Biehn has that type of range of voice. But it would be cool to do, like, Michael Biehn is also not, he's not 30, he's not 40, he's more like late 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
So depending on how much they want him to do in the show, too, could just be, in the kind of like the mocap, kind of like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, right? If he's doing Cad Bane, make him look like an alien.
But they could just paint him blue, right? They could just do something with his face. They don't have to change like his whole persona. They can keep the same body build.
I think with the tech that they have, and like Mandalorian season 2 is already done shooting, which I didn't know till yesterday. But they're done shooting. They are so good at kind of keeping it wrapped because they filmed the whole thing in the studio with like the walls or green screens. It's crazy. So with that level of technology, it might just be easier for them with shooting schedules and everything to get them in and get them out. And if they're doing like a Cad Bane character,
that might be,
or a Valance character, right? You put like the green cap on half the face, you turn it into like a skull. But it would be awesome to see the guy from Terminator basically be half a Terminator.
Now, before we move on to the next subject, like, we know Bill Burr's coming back, right? So that means that we're seeing that bounty hunter come back. He was, he had a relatively small role in season 1. I think I'm in the same boat with Michael Biehn being cast in this series. I think he's also going to have a small role, maybe an episode or 2. Yeah. I don't think they're going to give him a big character arc when we're dealing with everything that we have, especially with Ahsoka being introduced, right? Yeah. I kind of wish Star Wars and Disney kind of reversed this. I wish they told us about this first, so they kind of like whet our appetites, like, oh, what's next? And then you have the big mic drop. This kind of feels like it's like an aftershock of the earthquake. It's not as big as the other one, but it's still cool.
Yeah, I don't know, like, I don't know in the long scheme of things if announcement, like I'm kind of different on it, right? Like, I don't know if announcements really matter when it happens. Like,
okay.
Like, some, the other way is, like, people complain, like, oh, they announced Ahsoka, and then they announced these people, and I'm excited about these people, but they get lost behind Ahsoka, right?
That's kind of what this feels like.
Or I love this, or I love this. I don't know if it's playing, putting all their jars in one basket, but you have a situation, right, where the surprise for me personally is that the season's already done. Right. And I think that's a big deal because we're in a world right now where, productions are being halted to a complete stop.
Exactly.
TV, movie, everything
stopped. The Batman stopped and like everything. Yeah. Wonder Woman's delayed till August. Everything's getting pushed back and delayed.
Yeah. And so like to have a show that kind of is still in the height of people's thought process, right? Like the Baby Yoda stuff just started coming out for toys and statues and all that stuff. So that's still in the back of people's minds. To have a show that's like, hey, we're done. It's really kind of figuring out how we're going to do post-production, which is also hard face-to-face with the social distancing thing because of the editing rooms and everything that goes with it, mixing it with sound, music. Exactly. And they're taking their own challenges home, too, with that. But I think it's more to the line to say, hey, like, whether they're going to backdoor this into a bunch of different series for Disney Plus, which Ahsoka, to me, seems the only logical one.
To be series, its own series?
Yeah, like to me, okay. Ahsoka's going to be in Mandalorian, like we talked about last week, where she's going to be in like maybe an episode or two. And, that will backdoor it into her own live-action series.
I can see that. I can see that working.
Because I don't, really see another reason to not put her in. She's, like we said, she's like one of the biggest characters, especially right now, that Star Wars has. She's like 18 times more popular as Rey is the biggest female character of Star Wars. So like with that, I'm sorry to cut you off. No, go ahead.
A lot of people like online have been making the memes of Ahsoka being the greatest and more powerful and the best female Jedi compared to Rey. But as much as I want to agree with that, like I know her exploits from you and from seeing clips, right? Like I get that. But I don't think that's necessarily true on like the grander scale. I think a lot of people don't know who Ahsoka is. Like the average everyday person doesn't know who that is. They know Rey. And they're just going to be like, oh, Rey's amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the average, I think it's growing, meaning the gap between the knowledge of Ahsoka is thinning now.
Okay.
Because of Disney Plus. And because like even if you log on to Disney Plus and you're not watching the new Clone Wars episode once a week, the first thing you're going to see is a banner for the new episode, right? Like you're going to see Ahsoka, you're going to see. So like you may not know who she is fully because you haven't watched Clone Wars, and it's a lot easier to go watch 3 movies in the span of 4 or 5 years than it is to watch a cartoon series constantly. But like don't get it wrong though, Ahsoka is extremely popular within the Star Wars fandom, which is obviously a massive fan base. And I think the reaction is more so based on how the movies were treated and kind of the fans felt about the movies is where they're coming in, right? It's all personal difference.
Yeah.
I love both characters in different ways, but it's easier to go to Ahsoka because it's in a cartoon series and we've seen her, her stories way longer and fleshed out, as is a TV series, right? But we really haven't still seen Ahsoka's kind of peak or Ahsoka's, the heart of Ahsoka's power or where she goes. And there's a lot of unknown with Ahsoka that we get to see with Rey in a different way. So I don't know if it's more so like, hey, I like this character more than this character. It's like, hey, I like this character for this, but I like this character because of this. I don't, I don't necessarily think we need to compare them, but I would say, they both have different positives and negatives right now. But, with Ahsoka being a cartoon, you can flesh it out for a longer bit.
So, guys, that is our breakdown of Michael Biehn being cast in Mandalorian Season 2. Let us know down in the comments below what you think of this casting, who you think he's going to be, and if this is even on your radar or not. I know it's on my radar, and I'm definitely excited to hear that Mandalorian Season 2 has been wrapped up. I know you guys are. That means we could actually watch something other than, The Office for the 12,000th time, right?
Well, there's nothing wrong with watching The Office 14 times through, okay?
I mean, you're not wrong.